Hi third graders. We're going to get started on a new project today and we are going to be making an African mask. Now, we are going to be using a variety of materials for this project. We will kind of have a collage going on where we use multiple supplies. We could use something called raffia, we could use something called, we could use buttons, we could use beads, we can use beans. All sorts of different things to decorate our African masks. But to start with, what we're going to do is draw the mask, and we're going to use some different symbols that may be used on an African mask. And we're going to be learning about something called symmetry. So our mask is going to be symmetrical. Symmetrical means that it's exactly the same on both sides. So if you split it in half, it's exactly the same on both sides, like a person. If I split myself in half, I have an ear, I have an ear, I have a nose, I have half a nose, half a mouth, eye. I'm the same on both sides, other than little things like where I part my hair, or if I have a scar on one side of my face and not on the other side. For the most part, people are similar. And we are going to learn a new technique so that we can make our mask be exactly symmetrical. And then once we're done drawing our mask, we'll Sharpie, we'll use watercolor paint, and then we'll start adding all of those extra items to our mask to make it look more like an African mask. And then the very last step will be to do a bit of printmaking on our project. So there's a lot going on this project, but it's a lot of fun. I will do the demonstration in just a minute. Okay, so to start with, you're going to have a big piece of paper. Mine's small, but yours will be big. And you are going to fold it in half so that it's long and skinny, like this. Now, you're then going to open it up, and this crease right here is very important. Everything that you draw today, you're going to draw on 1/2 of your paper. So if it's easier, you can just fold it like this so that you're not tempted to draw on the other half. But when you draw your mask, you're only going to draw half of it. So like half of a head, which means you're going to start it here, bring it over, and then bring it down and connect to the fold again, okay? Now, for me, it's easier to keep it open. So I'm gonna keep it open like this. And I have a handout for you that looks like this. It has a bunch of different types of African masks with different designs on them. You can make yours look just like one of these. You can make your own design. You can take parts of, we'll say, this mask, and then parts of this mask and parts of this mask, if there are things that you like on all of them, and you can put them all together to make your mask. Be creative, make it your own, and come up with some of your own ideas. So what you're going to do, again, is just draw on 1/2 of your paper. So I think what I'm going to do is draw my own, and I'm going to press hard. You're going to press very lightly. What I've been trying to do is do my demonstrations with Sharpie, but for this project, I cannot do it with Sharpie, which means I need to press hard so that you can see. And then I can start adding the other details. But again, I want you to notice that I started my head right on the fold and I finished it right on the fold. And I'm only drawing half of the head. So if I want there to be an eye, which you do need to have an eye, what you have to do is just make sure that you're only drawing one eye, because we're only drawing 1/2 of the mask. Once you have finished making your mask and you're happy with it, what you're going to do is trace over the lines and make them very dark. Now I already drew pretty dark, so mine are pretty much ready for the next step. Which is to fold it in half this way and then use a ruler to transfer your image. So I am using a metal ruler, which I don't recommend doing, but it's all I have at home. What you're going to want to do is go like this back and forth, but press really hard on your paper. Again, you're going to want to use a wooden ruler. You don't want to go like this with like the corner of the ruler, and wherever your fingers are is where the pressure is going to be. Since I'm using this metal ruler, I have to do it a little bit differently because I'm going to rip my paper otherwise. Now, if this worked, which it sort of did, but sort of didn't, so I'm going to close it back up and push some more, and this might happen to you also. But my design will start to show up. And then you trace what you can see. Don't make up lines. I'm going to tell you right now, I can totally tell if you do. And it kind of ruins your project. And I'll make you erase it and try and fix it. But if you push too hard, the lines are still going to show up and it'll be hard to get rid of those lines. So your best bet is to make sure that you only trace the lines when you see them. Now I have everything, so what I'm going to do is outline everything with a Sharpie. Okay, so then you're going to want to go in and erase all of your pencil lines. Okay, so the last step of the project is to color, and we're going to be using something really cool. We are going to use watercolor pencils, which you may or may not have used before. But when you color, you have to color symmetrically as well. So this here and this here should both be the same color all the way along like this. Okay. And you want to color them in nice and solid. The cool thing too is that you can blend these some, and it will give you a really cool look when we do the next step of the project. So what I could do is something like this. And something like this. I can mix the two together and then